Hello friends, here we are again. This is our fifth lesson and I'm so thankful for our time together every other week. Um, it has been fun teaching and learning with you. So in our last video, we learned to find clues from a reading text to figure out the meaning of an unfamiliar or new vocabulary. So this week, we'll be focusing on decoding and word recognition. So aside from finding clues from the picture, the context of the reading text, and what comes before and after a new vocabulary, decoding skill is a strategy for us to read a word we don't know how to read, right? Because we might there comes to a point that there comes to some situation that we do know the meaning of a word, but when we see the word, we don't know what it means, how to pronounce or how to read it. Okay, so the decoding strategy that Miss Grace is going to introduce you is cover and slide. So to give you a brief idea, so the main idea of this strategy is to read a word part by part. So for example, when you're trying to read a word part by part, we cover up the parts of the word we are not reading and focus on the parts that we are reading. Focus on the part that we are. So we slide our fingers across from left to right to show more and more of the parts as we read it. And at the end, we're gonna put all the parts together to read the word. Now I know this sounds confusing, but don't worry, because we're gonna practice it with a few words from this book. So the title of this book is Mother Goose. Is Mother Bruce. Yes, by Ryan T. Higgins. So Bruce was a grouchy bear who lived by himself. Okay. Yep. He was a grouchy and grumpy bear, and he doesn't like sunny days, rain, or even cute animals. Oh, I don't understand. So the one thing he likes is egg. So he collects eggs from various birds and cooks them into fancy recipes that he found on internet. So one day, as usual, he found a delicious egg recipe, and he headed out to get ingredients such as egg, honey, and so on. So when he's back, he started preparing the egg on a wood stove, and then he found that the fire in his stove was frizzled. So he had to go get a wood for cooking. And when he's back, he was surprised with 4 goslings sitting on the stove. And the 4 goslings were calling and crying out for him, "Mama, Mama." So the gosling actually have mistaken Bruce as their mother, and Bruce actually tried different ways to get rid of them but failed. So he gave in and he did his best to take care and raise the annoying baby geese. And the rest of the story is depicting how Bruce take care of the 4 goslings. So this is a fun book, and Miss Grace encouraged you that if you have time, go to our library and check this book out, okay? Now, so there are many fun vocabularies in this story that can help us to follow the story. And on top of that, we can use those words to practice our decoding strategy, cover and slide. Okay, so I'm gonna turn to the first page and see if there's any word that I don't know. So let's see. Bruce was a bear who lived all by himself. He was I don't know how to say that word, but he was a blank bear. Okay, now I know the spelling. This is how the word spells. Grumpy. Okay. Now we're gonna use this word to practice this decoding strategy. Okay, so at this point I don't recognize the word, and maybe I know the meaning, but I don't know the word. I don't know how to read this word. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this cover and slide strategy by reading the word part by part. Okay, so firstly we're gonna and don't forget we're gonna use our hands, okay, to cover parts of the word, okay, and then eventually reveal one part at a time. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna ask myself, how many parts does this word have? Okay, let's see, maybe 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there are 3 parts in this word. Good. And that's okay if we're not sure, because we're gonna read it part by part anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna use my hands to cover the parts. I'm gonna cover the parts of the words, this word, except the first part, and I'm going to read this blend. GR is a GR, okay, and then we know that this is a GR sound, and then I'm gonna slide my hands over to reveal the second part. UM, and then the last part, PY, P, maybe P. So I think it rhymes with sleepy, B. Probably they rhyme. So we shall see. And at the end, the last step is we're gonna put all these parts together and read it. Grumpy, grumpy. And that's how we decode the word, okay? So lovely. So the prompts are, firstly, we're gonna ask ourselves, how many parts are there in this word? In this case, we point out there are 3 parts. Good. And then we're gonna cover the rest of the words except the first part, right? So, girl. Oops. Sorry. Okay, good. And then we cut. Oh, sorry. Let's go back to the first step. Okay, we identified 3 parts. Good. And then we're gonna cover the second and third parts except the first part, right? And then we slide our hands to the next and to the next as we decode it, and at the end we're going to put the whole parts together and read it. Grumpy. All right, so let's try another word in this book. Let me see what we have here. So Bruce needed the geese to leave, so he got well, here's the spelling. Okay, the spelling is CREATIVE. Ooh, that's a tricky one. Okay, so what do we do first? We point out the parts of the word. So let's give it curtain, the 3 parts. Okay, so we have 3 parts of the word. Good. And what's next? We're gonna cover the parts except the first part. Good. So the first part is CR, it's a blend. And the next one is EA. Ooh, the tricky EA. Now this is the unpredictable team EA. So it is a diphthong, right? If you can see, it is a diphthong. And which means that there are 2 vowels next to each other, but it makes only one sound and have more than one pronunciation. So it's either a long E as in seat, or a short E as in head. Okay, and that's okay. We don't know, but at least we know there is it's either short E or long E. Okay. And then we're going to go to the last part. Thief. T-I-V-E, thief. Positive. So probably they rhyme, this word and the word positive rhyme. I think that, yeah, they rhyme at the end, they rhyme as in the ending sound. Yes, good. So now we're gonna put all these parts together, and like I said, it's okay we don't know if it's a short or a long E, because we're gonna listen and find out if they sound right. Okay, so let's try with long E. Creative doesn't sound good, doesn't sound correct. What about short E? Creative. Yeah, we've heard of this word, so definitely that's the right way of saying it. All right, so yeah, so as you have noticed, when we decode a word, we're also bringing our knowledge of reading, like knowledge of phonics. For example, beginning and ending sound, blending, diphthong, to help us to decode the word. All right, so let's do a quick recap. When we come across a word we don't know, we can use the strategy, the decoding strategy, cover and slide. We moved from the left to the right, revealing each part one at a time. Okay, so first we're gonna identify the parts of the word, like what we did here, 3 parts. Okay, and then we cover the rest of the parts of the word and leave the first part open so that we can decode it. We move from the first part, second part, and the third part, and at the end we put them all together and read the word. So I hope you find this strategy as helpful as it is for Miss Grace. And yeah, you have a good rest of the day, and I will see you the week after next. Bye.